Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. I've been so moved today, getting to spend time with Jennifer and Rich, and it's been incredible. So grateful to share a little of my story with you, and I'm going to start that off with a song I wrote called "Lead Me." Jake, if you could give me the left channel, that would be great. Thank you. Perfect. I look around and see my wonderful life, almost perfect from the outside. In picture frames, I see my beautiful wife, always smiling, but on the inside, I can hear her saying, lead me with strong hands, stand up when I can't. Don't leave me hungry for love, chasing. But what about us? Show me willing to fight, that I'm still the love of your life. I know we call this our home, but I still feel alone. I see their faces, in their innocent eyes. They're just children from the outside. I'm working hard, I tell myself they'll be fine. They're independent, but on the inside, I can hear them saying, lead me with strong hands, stand up when I can't. Don't leave me hungry for love, chasing dreams. But what about us? Show me you're willing to fight, that I'm still the love of your life. I know we call this our home, but I still feel alone. So give me to be everything I'm called to be. Oh, Father, show me the way to lead them. Won't you lead me to lead them with strong, stand up when they can't. Don't wanna leave them hungry for love, chasing things that I could give up. And I show them I'm willing to fight and give them the best of my life, so we can call this our home. Oh, leave me, 'cause I can't do this alone. Father, lead me, 'cause I can't do this alone. So great to be here with Real Options. I'm so blessed to be part of this work. I've just been so passionate about pro-life for so many years, and over the past 7 or 8 years, I've had the opportunity to start sharing my story. And not just sharing my story about my life, but also why this mission is so important to me. And I'll start with that song, Lead Me. That came from a real moment in my life that was very difficult for me. As Terry pointed out in my bio, I was in Sanctus Real from 1996 to 2016. My friends and I, we met in high school, and for 20 years, spent just doing life together, writing music together, traveling the world together, and having no idea that we would get to live out our dreams together in that way. And in 2016, I really did just feel like God was tugging on my heart that it was time for me to sing that song, Lead Me Less, and to live it more. And that was my call. And I just remember being in front of all these crowds of people and hearing them sing those lyrics back, thinking, man, I don't know if I am the man. I don't know if I'm that guy. And so I laid that down in 2016, and it was one of the hardest, but one of the most beautiful decisions I ever made. Just loving the time that I'm getting these past few years with my family and being home so much more. I remember the very beginning of my journey with my wife, Sarah. And before I share that, I just want to share this little quote, because parts of my story, that I like to share with people are the more difficult parts. And here's the reason why. This is a quote from my book, Lead Me. I could airbrush, cover up, and present a version of my life that's far more attractive than the truth. But who would that help? Real life comes with junk drawers and scary containers of leftovers you forgot were in the back of the fridge. It's not always pretty, but being honest about that stuff, that's what connects us. And I don't know about you, but I can relate a lot more to people's screw-ups than their successes. If you really want my trust, don't just brag about your victories. Show me your scars. You see, when I see people's highlight reels, even if they're my friends, I love seeing what they're out there doing in the world, all the exciting stuff. But seeing all the vacations and all the top of the world moments doesn't make me feel closer to them, even if I'm happy for them. But when somebody's willing to let down their guard, to let down their highlight reel and say, hey, this is what I'm really struggling with in my life. This is where I feel pain. This is where I have a hard time, where I'm struggling. That is what really connects us and bonds us with one another. And that's why it's so important for me to share the more difficult pieces of my story. Let me tell you about the very first time that I met my wife, Sarah. I was actually playing at a music festival in Columbus, Ohio. It had a real clever name. It was called Youthtopia. We were the independent band playing in the middle of the day in the hot sun, and that night we got to watch some of our favorite bands play. Third Day, Audio Adrenaline, Switchfoot. I don't know if you've heard of any of those bands. But Third Day was playing, and the lights were coming down from off the stage, and I was way up at the top of a hill watching them. And along the back of the crowd, I could see this girl in overalls and bare feet just laughing and dancing and smiling. And now, something I write about in my book, actually, at quite length, is about how I grew up as an anxious child. Maybe you could say in ways I'm OCD. Thank you, Jake. Hey, give it up for Jake, by the way. He's dealing with all this stuff. Thank you very much. And so I was kind of uptight, and I was like, man, so OCD saw Carefree, and I thought, she completes me. And then I was too anxious to talk to her. So I drove from Columbus up to Toledo, Ohio, and the next morning I led worship for a community-wide worship service, and lo and behold, I get on stage, and there she is, overalls girl, in her bare feet. And it turns out that her family had invited her to come up from Columbus at college, to come back home. She lived near my town, to be with her grandmother and her parents. And that day I went and I spoke with her, got her number, wrote it down with a Sharpie on a little sticky note, and I still have it today. And the rest is history, man. I fell in love with that woman. And on July 14th, 2001, got married to Sarah. I think I have a picture of it here. And if you're wondering why there are two women in this photo, that's me trying to be cool with my early 2000s rocker hair and, uncool. You could actually, if you could take that down, that'd be great. Well, unless it's going to prematurely go to the next slide. If you can go to a static slide off that, don't leave that up too long. But, actually, I think it's going to have to stay up. That's okay. It's fine. But anyways, Sarah was so amazing. After we got married, she jumped into a 15-passenger van with a bunch of sweaty guys to go on tour. Because not only did I get married in 2001, I signed a record deal in 2001 with Sparrow Records. And then we went out on tour, and we were broke. We had no money. And this woman was in the van every single day and night with a bunch of sweaty guys helping out with our merchandise. And God bless her, man. It was incredible the way that she loved and served me as a husband. But I'll tell you, those days also weren't easy, because in the early days of touring, we didn't have a lot of time and space in a van with a bunch of guys, to learn what it meant to live married life together. And so sometimes we would get home and all that stuff that was pent up would just kind of come out and explode. And there were times that we were finding ourselves in cycles of conflict that were just so difficult for us that we just couldn't get through to one another. And a few years after we were married, around 2006, 2007, we became pregnant with our first child. And then Sarah had to leave the road in her third trimester. So now she's at home living the family dream. I'm at home or out on the road living the band dream still. And now I feel the tension between family dreams and career dreams. And I'm stuck right in the middle. And that's the tension that song, Lead Me, is about. You see, I came home one day about 7 years after we were married, and Sarah looked at me and she said the words that every single husband longs to hear from his wife. We need to talk. We did need to talk. And that day, God gave me the grace to hear what my wife wanted to say to me, what she needed to say to me through tears. He gave me the grace to hear her heart. She said, it's like you're here, but you're not here, and I need you to lead me. Not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually, to show up and be the man that we need you to be. And I remember that day after that conversation, through tears, listening to her words, and she went off, and I thought about the words that she said, and I picked up my guitar, and I wrote the first draft of that song, Lead Me. And I remember bringing Sarah back in, and I said, honey, I wrote this song, and I played it for her, and she said, oh, you think it's a song that I want? Yeah, no. She loves the song. But she was fighting for me because she wanted more. Sometimes we think people are fighting against us when they're fighting for us. She was fighting for my heart and my soul and my mind. She was fighting for us to be one. And in that moment, God really brought some healing into our lives. And it's a daily journey that I call my Lead Me journey, because it's me moving from being a man of good intentions to a man of action as the leader of my home. That's my daily journey. And God was preparing me for something beyond just having a better marriage and being a better father. He was preparing for me to go through something that was one of the most difficult things in my life. In April of 2010, 1 month after Lead Me came out and started rising on the Christian music charts, it was going to number one. And at that very same time, my wife and I went into an ultrasound room at our OB's office. And we took our oldest with us. We had 2 little girls at the time. We took Emmy with us, and we got to watch the wonder of life on the screen. It was amazing. I felt it today when I was at Real Options and I was in their ultrasound sonogram room. I feel it. I can almost breathe the life that you feel in that room. It's amazing. And Emmy found out that day that her and Claire were getting a little brother. Their dream was coming true. But that same day, our doctor told us that our little boy only had half of his heart. I didn't know how a child could only have half of a heart. But that day marked a series of months from April to September when our son was due. When we would go sit in front of doctors and specialists over and over and over again to find out what it meant for us to not only have a child with half a heart, but to figure out what it meant for our family and for our life and for our other kids. And one of the things that surprised me the most along the way as I went to see doctors who I was going to help us save our son's life, for multiple doctors to look at us and say the best thing that you could do, the loving thing for you to do for your girls, for your marriage, for your family, for your future, is to end this child's life. And in that moment, 2 things happened. First of all, my heart broke. My heart broke as a father who had every desire to love my son and chase after his life and choose his life. But I also realized what it must be like for the women and men who sit across from medical professionals who tell them that the best option is to end their pregnancy when they have no loving marriage, no loving family, no support, no resources, no one behind them. I realized what it must be like and how fearful their hearts must be in those moments. How much it matters, the work that Real Options does. It hit me in that moment. Now, Sarah and I chose life for our son named Bowen, and we chose Bowen because Bowen meant small, victorious one. See, his heart was small, but we knew that his story was big because it was God's story that we got to carry. God's stories are always big. We just get to walk in them. He's writing something amazing. And so that day we began to just pray. We knew that life was a gift from God. We knew it was meant to be lived. We knew that it was meant to be celebrated, that it should be an adventure. And this was a hard part of the adventure. But we started praying Psalm 139 over our little boy. You all know the verse, but we put his name right into it. For you formed Bowen's inward parts, God. You knitted him together in his mother's womb. I praise you for he's fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. His frame was not hidden from you when he was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes see his unformed substance. In your book are written, every one of them, the days that were formed for Bowen, when as yet there were none of them. Over and over and over and over again. God, we trust you. You are God. We are not. And on September 9th, 2010, Bowen Matthew Hammitt was born with half a heart. 5 days later, we handed him over to a surgeon for his first of 3 open heart surgeries. After he came back from the surgery, we have a picture of kind of what we saw. And it was hard to see our boy like that. They told us we needed to get some sleep, so we went back to our room to get some rest. But at 2:13 a.m., the phone rang, and it was Bowen's nurse calling us to tell us that his heart had stopped beating. We ran to his room as fast as we could. There was a flurry of doctors and nurses around him, and we were just holding his feet in the middle of it all. His cold feet, that patch on his chest was ripped away from his chest, and his chest was wide open in front of us. And the doctors were pumping his heart with their fingers to keep him alive. And after 45 minutes, they pulled us away. And I knew what that meant. And I grabbed his little stuffed alligator, and I remember just sitting in the room next door, just rocking back and forth, just saying, Jesus, you are my treasure. You are the only thing that sickness, death, or man cannot steal from me. But I pray by the power of the death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, that you would save my boy. The most desperate prayer that I have ever prayed as a father. In that moment, I waited and I waited. And then Bowen's nurse, who had called us at 2:13 a.m. to tell us that his heart had stopped beating, came back in that room and told us that Bowen's heart was beating again. An amazing moment for us. An amazing miracle moment. I went back into the room. Dr. Dan DiBardino was stitching up his neck where they'd put him on life support. Dr. Dan never said a serious word ever. He was on one of those doctor TV shows, and he drove us crazy because he was only joking ever. But that day, D-Bar, as they called him, looked me in the eyes with tears coming down his face, and he said, hey, Dad, you still got a kid in there. 14 years later, we still have a kid in there. I think we have a picture of our family now. You can see my wife, Sarah, our oldest, Emmy. She's about to turn 19 in February. I can't even believe it. We've got Bowen's little brother over here who's actually bigger than he is. That's Louie. We used to call him Hurricane Louie. He's a Category 5, but we love him. Claire just turned 16, second kid driving. God help us. But they're all so beautiful. 3 open heart surgeries. Multiple strokes, all kinds of issues that we've been through, but we still have a kid in there all these years later, and we're so grateful. And there's one thing I have to say, and it's this, that I know as I share this miracle story with you, it is not lost on me that there are more people than I could count in this room who would say, I prayed that same prayer, a desperate prayer for healing, a prayer that God would save somebody in some way that I love. And for some reason, God chose to take and not give for you. And I wish I knew the secrets and the mysteries of why God gives and why he takes and what seasons he does that in. I don't understand it. Maybe I will on the other side. Maybe we will together. But I see you. I see your pain. I see your grief. And I want you to know that because of you, I don't take one day we get to keep taking in this season for granted. Not one single day do I take it for granted. right now, there are powerful movements that are destroying futures. They're ripping away dreams, ripping away legacies. But we, hand in hand with Real Options, have the opportunity to join a more powerful movement of life and love. Together, we have the opportunity to redeem futures and restore dreams, to establish families, to establish legacies that will last forever. Because life is a gift from God. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be celebrated. And tonight, we have the opportunity to celebrate through our gifts of generosity. What an honor that we have the opportunity to not just volunteer or pray or stand up in all the wonderful ways that you've supported, even by showing up tonight, but we have the opportunity to give our financial gifts tonight. That is an honor. And I'm so grateful that you've come here to partner with Real Options, and I'm grateful that I get to be part of it too. Deuteronomy 30:19, I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your offspring may live. Would it be okay if I introduced you guys to Bowen tonight? Bowen, will you come up here? Give it up for Bowen Hammitt.
Hello.
How you doing? Yeah. So I had the opportunity to sing you, lead me, and we're running a little behind tonight, so Bowen, we're going to go straight to your song tonight, because I want to sing you this song that Bowen wrote. And Bowen, do you want to tell them anything about Safe Right Here before we sing it?
I mean, it's just a song of life, and that God guides whatever you do. And if you want to see more stories like mine or more kids like me, donate to Real Options.
I promise you, I did not tell him to say that. This kid's good. All right, you ready, buddy? Here we go.
You're so close to my heart, I can feel it. I hear your wind moving in my spirit, whispering, come and find your healing. When I'm scared, I just keep on breathing. I know that I have a rhyme and a reason. I have the faith that it takes to keep believing. No fear, no tear, my heart stays right here. I'm safe in the hands of the one who created me. Safe for right here. Safe right here. Safe for right here. Safe right here. When I'm down, I just get back up again. I see a new light, not a dead end. I see a light in the night where I've been. No fear, no tear, my heart stays right here. I'm safe in the hands of the one who created me. Safe for right here. Safe right here. 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 No fear, no tear, my heart stays right here. I'm safe in the hands of the one who created me. No fear, no tear, my heart stays right here. I'm safe in the hands of the one who created me. Safe for right here. Safe 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 right here in your arms. Safe right here in your arms. Safe right here in your arms. Safe right here in your arms.
Yeah. Oh, that is on. Hey, Bowen did want me to tell you, by the way, he wrote that song when he was 8 years old. He's 14 now, so you know, he gets a little bit of crack going on in there. But I think you did an amazing job, Bowen. Hey, thank you guys so much. God bless you. Thanks for having us here tonight. Thanks for supporting Real Options.